YT, what is good? It's been a while. Now, I've been very fortunate in the last couple of weeks in particular, but over the last 6 months to have a level of freedom that I'll be honest, I didn't anticipate to have so soon. I am fully self employed, I'm in control of my time, my finances, my physique, my location, where I work from, and that is all a lagging measure of my decisions that I have made over the last 3 to 4 years. Now, I'll put my hands up wholeheartedly and say that 3 years ago, I didn't even know this is where I wanted to be, let alone this is where I was going to be. But once I understood that I could do the hard things, I then began working towards goal after goal after goal. So I'll take you back on a wee journey. Back in 2022, I ruptured my appendix, just finished a season of rugby. We played in the Premiership final. We lost. I played in the Melrose Sevens, made it to the semi-finals, which is unheard of for a Curry team. And then about 2 months later, I ruptured my appendix. I was in the peak athletic condition. Now, what I'd said to myself early on that year was, if I'm not in a state professionally or athletically, as in I wasn't playing the standard of rugby that I wanted to play at, I was going to pack my bags and go to Australia. So God was sending me some wild message to tell me that I needed to get the fuck out of here. So the rest of the year went on. I spent months recovering. I lost a shitload of weight. The inside of my body was wrecked. But January came around. I'll just make sure that's on. January came around and I decided to do it. Or actually, it was November I booked the flights. And I was like, right, fuck it, let's get out of here. I just finished my personal trainer qualification. Again, didn't know that was exactly what I wanted to do. But I knew the job I was doing wasn't the job that I wanted to do for the next even 5-6 years. So I was like, right, what am I good at? And what do I spend a lot of time doing? Working out and talking to people probably are the two things, right? And I'll also add on that, I wasn't good at talking to new people. I wasn't that confident socially out with unless I had a bevy in me. But regardless, we'll come back to that. So I went to Australia. I spent the first 3 months travelling up the East Coast, bevying every day. Blew about 2.5-3 grand. No, sorry. Blew about 8 grand in the first 2.5-3 months. Yes, 8 grand. And then realised I needed to get my shit together, get a job, and get settled. So I did. In Bondi, found a good job for experience, but a piss job for salary. So I lived for the next 6 to 7 months on, I think it was between 800 and $1,000 a week, which sounds like a lot, but I reckon the average salary there is 13 to 1,500 a week, and everything was expensive. So we had to live life within the means. I decided that to sort my alcohol problem out, I would do 75 hard, and that challenge probably changed my life just as much as even deciding to go in the first place. But that challenge was the hardest I've been tested ever for the longest amount of time, and I had absolutely no vice, I suppose, to help you get through. If anybody doesn't know the 75 hard challenge, go have a look. It's difficult. One of the hardest things I've done. Also, at the same time, there was shit going on back home. My granddad was dying, and one of the boys from the rugby club sadly committed suicide. So all that just at one time or another shattered my mental state. But I still didn't crack. I didn't bevy, didn't do any of that shit. We carried on and we got through it. I trained for the Sydney Marathon. Again, so hard, such a hard thing to do. But we pulled through. Didn't get the time I wanted, but that was a big learning curve for myself. Not to beat myself up over not achieving the exact goal, but we still managed to achieve something substantial anyway. I ran the Sydney Marathon. That's pretty cool. So by that point, I was settled in personal training. I enjoyed the job. I'd went from when I first started it, I wasn't big on it. I wasn't madly in love with it. After about 4 months, the penny dropped and I started to really feel and see the results from clients, but also the relationships you build. And when you get good at something, you automatically just begin to enjoy it more. So, came back home that January 2024, got a job at a local business, and from then started to just get more experience. After about 3 months, started to take on some one-to-one personal clients and started to build up a clientele from there. By June, I had about 6 clients. By August, I was sitting around the 8-9 mark, and decided to make the jump to go self-employed. Now, here I am, about 8 months later, and the pressure of going self-employed and having to just suck it the fuck up, post the content, put myself out there, do the hard things, take the risks, make the uncomfortable jumps, has now put me in a position that I'm incredibly thankful to be in. But the one thing that allowed me to get to this place, and I suppose it's not a short amount of time, but in let's say 2.5 years, was just that initial first decision to go to Australia and be like, fuck it, there's nothing to lose. And then realising that I could do it and continuing to make decisions based on my self-belief, but also the know-how that I would come through the other side. So the message I want you all to take from this in particular: the journey to the life that you want to create all starts from 2 or 3 difficult decisions that, I'll be honest, you do not really believe that you can accomplish. But once you make those decisions and you start to see the outcomes and you realise that you're capable, you will then continue to make these difficult decisions and surprise yourself. If you told me even a year ago I'd be sat talking to a camera on YouTube, I would have probably laughed you out of the room. So I suppose just start with one decision. Don't think too much about it. Yes, it'll be tough. Yes, you'll be anxious. Yes, you'll overthink it. But you just got to suck it the fuck up and see it through anyway. If you liked that video, drop a wee like and a sub. We're back on the grind. I'm looking forward to it. Let's go.